Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Homecoming, the HBCU podcast. You can catch us everywhere on wherever you get podcasts: Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio. So we all there, and catch us on YouTube. We'll be there every Monday, and we're talking about the best things that's going on with HBCU, the news, whether it's good or bad, sports, and to highlight the students. Because, HBCU students don't get enough love, man. They don't get love. HBCUs in general don't get enough love, Rose. So, Rose, how you doing?
I'm doing
What's
great.
going
I'm doing
on?
great. It's Friday, so I always feel good when the weekend's coming up. I feel amazing. Got my Texans playing tomorrow. Tuning in, and I'm like, it's such a conflict of interest. I'm definitely rooting for the Texans. Don't get me wrong.
Of
Like, we need to.
course.
We're going to
You
the
like
Super Bowl.
Lamar.
If it, yeah, but I love Lamar Jackson. We already talked about this. I don't care if your eyes got big about the Super Bowl, bro. We beat the Ravens. We're going to the Super Bowl. Like, that's just where I'm at with it. Anyways, but we talked about it on an earlier episode. I believe it was an
Y'all
earlier
gonna be
episode.
y'all gonna be Pat Mahomes and KC.
Bro, we beat the Ravens. It's a wrap. I'm not gonna lie. I actually prefer this matchup over Kansas City, man. I do, and it sounds crazy. I prefer the Ravens matchup over the
Yeah,
Chiefs
I
matchup, but that's
understand
just
that.
me.
I understand that.
Um, but no, so that's what I'm getting ready for this weekend. But it's been an amazing
Mhm.
week. Like you said, HBCUs right now, we've had the good, the bad, and the ugly, which we'll be getting into in this episode. There's just a lot. There's a lot of stories to cover. We're not gonna be able to get to everything today, but we had a couple of stories that really kind of stuck out to us and really kind of hit home. Starting with the FAMU football team
It's
head
just
coach
crazy.
drama. It's been crazy. So
Yeah.
on a previous episode, we covered the departure of Willie
Mm-hmm.
Simmons, and that
Mm-hmm.
has had a cascade effect on like the turn of events since then. And it's interesting because it what really kicked it off was the head coach from Duke actually leaving that position, and then that
Mm-hmm.
kind of opened up that. And then the now current head coach of Duke went and
Mm-hmm.
pulled Willie Sims, to his organization and to his team. So JT, JT, it's been crazy. I've never seen a alumni association this active and this involved and this
Mm-hmm.
reactionary, but not in a bad way. Because
Mm-mm.
remember initially when Willie Simmons, the rumors of him going to Duke first made ripples, they were very, very proactive
Mm-hmm.
in raising over $100,000 in cash, not
Mm-hmm.
pledges, like actual cash, like they had
Mm-hmm.
available.
Yep.
So when you look at it from that perspective, the chain of events that followed, it kind of makes sense. So on January 10th, the Florida A&M National Alumni Association, they filed a vote of no confidence in the
Mm.
athletic director, Tiffany Don Sykes, and that was an 18-3 vote. Then they also filed a second motion, and that was a 19-1 no confidence vote in the hire of Gibbs. So Gibbs,
Which is crazy because
yeah,
didn't Tiffany hire Simmons?
yeah, but I think what it is the way that she went about potentially hiring him. Like, I'm looking at
Mm.
Sean Gibbs' resume, right? 2 seasons at Fort Valley,
It's pretty
State
small.
University. But he's had 19 seasons of experience. You get
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So if you look at his
Yeah.
resume, he was at North Carolina Central, Grambling
Mm-hmm.
University for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not new to the scene. But I think where the uproar or where the resistance came from is like how I think they didn't see the transparency. Now, Sykes did come out and state, after she received all this backlash, that, hey, I did consult, with the appropriate channels. I spoke with the players to see, how they would feel about this hire. In her defense, I don't know if that was a response to now all the negative press that she was receiving, because there was a meeting on the 16th, right? The day
Mm-hmm.
before, Fort Valley State University, they actually came out with a statement saying like, hey, Sean Gibbs actually re-signed to our program,
Yep.
and he'll be the head coach for next year before the January 16th meeting, because they already knew, man, fire. They already knew if that didn't happen, that meeting was going to be crazy. So now on the 16th, she had to come out and announce that she would be using a unspecified search firm to help her choose the 19th head coach for this football organization. And I think there is a lot of importance, JT, and I'm going to let you, take over, because I do want to hear your thoughts on this. There's a lot to say about, the seriousness of this hiring process, because you got to think FAMU was the only HBCU to win a NCAA national championship, and that was in the 70s. But like, it still speaks volume. Like, this is a program that is like, I mean, LeBron James, right? He had to deal with FAMU. Like, so it's a program that holds a lot of weight in HBCU football. So it can't, like, these type of hiring decisions can't be taken lightly. So how do you feel about the whole drama and what's transpired so far?
All right, so this is very interesting. So, and shout out to FAMU. We said last week, remember I said last week, it's like, I know a lot of my fraternity brothers went there. My great uncle went there in the 50s. He pledged 1950. It's like, it's one of those HBCUs that stand out, especially in the South. It's popular for a reason, and they have a rich history. They have a rich history, especially with the football, with the band. They're just like one of those schools that are well-rounded. Their colors are nice. They got the deal with LeBron. Their school is fire. That's what everybody tells you. I need to go. They say FAMU is different. It's it's fun. It's all love. But this is all right. So this is very interesting. I've never seen anything like this because after Fort Valley State signs Gibbs, they also lost a recruiting coordinator, Devin Reprice. He's now in Colorado with Dion. Right?
And so yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm saying you're going to say the other person that they lost. Yeah.
Yeah. And they lost Simmons, right? Now, here's the thing. This is a very odd situation because the players want the interim head coach, James Cozy. The alumni want Billy Roll, but the school hasn't assigned a firm to look for a new head coach. Now, the crazy thing is none of the coaching staff off the championship team is getting looked at as of yet.
They lost their defensive coordinator too, as well.
See, there it is.
So it's like they're actually losing a lot of key pieces. The defensive coordinator is going to Murray State, so there's that.
And you gotta, and then you gotta be honest. Y'all gonna sign somebody February 7th? That is a long time in college football. You're gonna lose a lot of recruits to the transfer portal.
They've already losing people in the transfer portal.
And let's be
Griffey
honest.
Jr.'s son is gone. Like, they're losing people. Yeah,
and
he's left.
Let's be honest. So the recruiting coordinator is at Colorado. So if it's any players that Dion likes and you don't have a coach in by February 7th, he's snatching them. This is just a very in college. I think college is different from the NFL. I think the NFL, you take your time with the interviews, and we had this. College and NFL are two different things. College, as soon as the season's over, you got to start recruiting. You got to make sure the transfer portal's opened up. So some people are gonna go, and you're gonna want to recruit some people out of the transfer portal. You're gonna also want to recruit the new class. So this time is vital. You see what Fort Valley State signed it already. Duke, you know.
You have to have these things
Look
in
at
place
Alabama.
because,
Alabama
yeah,
signed a kid ASAP. Let's go because
quick,
we got to
quick.
recruit. We have to recruit.
And you have to have those things in place before you
Mm-hmm.
start recruiting. Who's going to take the
Yeah.
helm? Yeah,
Spring
for
ball's
sure.
about to be here in March. Spring ball.
All I
That's
know,
March.
National Signing Day is February 7th. I don't know what they're going to do.
I don't know what they're gonna do because you've gone to campus. You know, in the springtime, there's spring ball. That's when you look at ESPN and you're like, oh, the red team versus the yellow team versus today. That's spring. That's they've already started practicing, and then you then you take a break. Then there's training camp, and then there's a season. So
Hmm.
that's how it goes. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've never played football, college football, but you pay attention to it because I know a lot of people that played college football at HBCUs and on different levels
Right.
at D1 and in the NFL. But college is different. February 7th that's a long time.
So with that being said, would it be feasible to even bring in like another option, like somebody new to the table, or would you make it out of the two candidates, Roll and Colsey, since they're kind of already like familiar faces and they've gotten a vote of confidence from either players or the university at large, if that makes sense. I feel like that would make the least amount of ripples. Or do you go another direction and maybe try to recruit like an ex NFL player, but with extensive, coaching experience, like a Dishman, somebody who could really shake stuff up?
Mm, um, that's a good question because I've been hearing a lot of talk about head coaches, and it makes sense, right? You can get coordinators to scheme, but Mike Tomlin always says a head coaching job is to coach. Not all head coaches coach. That's why some teams suck. But the head coaches that coach, the Shanahans, the Reeds, D'Amico Ryans, there's a clip of him
Mm-hmm.
telling the linebacker to make this move because Flacco's
That
going
was
to throw it
crazy.
this way.
48. That was
That's coaching.
crazy.
Yes, that's coaching.
He's like, I
That's what
promise you, it's there. Pick
Yeah,
second pick in a
yeah,
row. Come on,
yes.
woo!
That's
It gave
why,
me
and I picked on
goosebumps.
the win, by the way. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Always go to the best quarterback. I didn't believe in Joe Flacco. That's neither here nor there. Everybody's picking Cleveland. I was like, y'all don't watch football.
Oh, you're tripping. Yeah, they were
So
tripping. They were
yeah,
tripping. No, Flacco used to be good.
yeah. 10 years ago. So
Yeah. I said used to.
yeah, a long time.
When I was still in DC.
Yeah,
I was still in DC.
golly.
Yeah. Wow.
A decade went by. All right, so it's a long time.
Time flies. Yeah.
So you want to coach the coach, right? Now, if the players, and not only does a coach have to coach, but the players have to believe
Mm-hmm.
because they have to be willing to go that extra mile. The coaching never matters in the first, second, or third quarter. The coaching matters when both teams are tired and who's willing to bid more to play for their head coach or who they like
Right.
more, who
Right.
they're willing to sacrifice more for. So if they bring in a big name, is he's gonna have to have some NFL experience. But you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I would listen to the players and bring back most of the staff.
Yeah, because it's going to be
I
too
would either hire
disruptive.
Roll. I would either hire
Yeah.
Roller or Gosky. That's what I would
Yeah.
do.
Same. Because they had a
I would
winning
leave it at that.
program. They had a winning
Yeah.
program. You get what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
this is not a situation where they were losing and you want to shake some stuff up and, there's a mass exodus of staff. You're trying to
Mm-mm.
keep the culture and
Mhm.
everything as, familiar and the same as possible. Truly. Like, I think any type
Mhm.
of outside hire, and I think that may have been one of the reasons for the pushback of like trying to hire Gibbs. There was like there was
Mm.
nothing wrong with what we were doing. We just lost a key component. So if anybody was under, Simmons coaching tree. Let's just get somebody from there, because they know how he operates. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know. I agree. I would definitely do an internal hire in that situation. Me personally.
Yeah, I would like. It's kind of like the old saying, "Don't broke if it's not broke, don't fix it." Right. So if you have a, okay, if I'll say this, and I think this is a good example of what we're talking about. Even though they haven't won, but they have. So follow me. The Patriots hired Gerard Mayo. It's clips at players like Tom Brady, Kukowski, Julian Edelman, like, yo,
Edelman, yeah.
Edelman, yes. Edelnut. So I know stop. He said Randy. He said Randy Moss used to call it Edelnut. Like, Edelnut, make my hot
Disrespectful, bro.
hot. He
Disrespectful.
was a rookie.
Jesus. Sucks to be a rookie in the NFL.
Yeah, well, you get hazed. But he said that Randy Moss also he had to buy lunch, and Randy Moss was sliding money because he knew he was on a rookie contract. So it comes with the haze. It comes with the haze. Like,
they pass them that bill. They see all them zeros. They're like, oh hell nah.
Yeah. So he's like, he had to get lunch, and he said he passed him a couple hundred. But back to what I was saying, all those players said that Gerard Mayo would be talking to Belichick, and he was there during the Super Bowls. He knows the winning culture. So, and I think Belichick, to be honest with you, signed off on it because it was they didn't even like interview anybody. It was like, hey, he's our next coach. They get
smooth transition.
Belichick is splitting ways, and the next day they're like, hey, smooth transition, because none of the players, all the players like him. All of the veteran players like him, and he was there when y'all were winning. So I kind of think this is the same thing. If you have a coach that was there when y'all were winning, keep it. And one of the players said that their academic scores went up, their GPAs, because
oh wow, okay, Coach Carter.
Yeah, because Kazi implemented a study program to get their grades up. So that right there is the type of mentality you want, especially the HBCU.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So I would keep them.
Yeah, did you see what Deion Sanders tweeted? He said he said, I can help. I got a Rolodex with qualified and capable coaches who can understand the challenges and culture. I'm assuming he's talking about at HBCUs, but then people are just like, took the recruiter. So, I mean, how are you helping, but I don't know. Yeah, he's like, somebody was like, no, thank you. So you can leave the next 3 to 4 years. Yeah, I mean,
listen, this is a good thing. If you hire a coach and y'all win for 3-4 years straight, and he goes to another school, you're winning, guys. That means you've won some championships.
Yeah.
The Bowie State head coach, we won championships. He goes on to a D1 program, right? One of his other coaches went to go coach in the NFL for a couple of years. And then the new coach right now was on his staff. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you're supposed to do it. If you have a good coach and you're winning, they're going to leave. But they might go to the NFL. They're gonna do, unless it's like Nick Saban or Coach K.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there are certain, I think that's one of the reasons why those schools will remain like powerhouses, because of just the stability that you have with knowing this is the coach. He's developed a winning program, and now students can like rest assured, like the day Nick Saban leaves, you get what I'm saying? Or Harborough, like you got to know like that provides, a competitive edge when you're thinking about football programs. But these guys are at the top schools, right? So it's like, where
Mm-hmm.
else am I going to go besides the NFL? Unfortunately, it's like this revolving door, especially at like the lower levels. So, like you said, just be grateful that you have a coach 3 to 4 years. He provides a winning program. Like Willie Simmons
That's
came out
nice.
and said, he's like, "Hey, I've checked all these things off of my bucket list. The last thing that's on my
Mm-hmm.
bucket list is to become a head coach at a
Power five.
power five school."
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to be this inevitable thing. The beautiful thing, or what the athletic director should do, right? That's your job, is make sure you have smooth transitions. Make sure you have the foresight, because you can't assume that this guy is going to stay there forever. Me, I'm going to already
Mm-hmm.
have a game plan. That's just me personally. I'm going to already have a
Mm-hmm.
game plan in action, you know what I'm saying? Or not in action, but on standby if and when this
Mm-hmm.
happens, because we see this is the move. Like, this is what it's going to
Yeah.
be. Even if you're the power five of HBCUs, you're not the power five of SBS. So just, you could
Mm-hmm.
automatically assume, that that's going to be something on that coach's, checklist on their resume. Like, but
Mm-hmm.
why not? So we can't knock it. We just need to now handle that stuff with grace. And whatever athletic director, they have the foresight and they can handle that with grace, that's going to determine the success of their, football team moving forward. So that's all I
Mm.
can say at that. I think she kind of stumbled a little bit. I think she kind of stumbled a little bit. And it might have just been
Yeah.
a thing of like transparency, and thinking she could make that decision. I mean, that is what they hired her for, right? That is the
They
athletic
did.
director's job last time I checked. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe they just didn't like the lack of transparency, or maybe they didn't like that it wasn't the person that they wanted, because Gibbs and Sykes, they actually have a like working
Mm-hmm.
like professional history. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
maybe that kind of rubbed people the wrong way. I don't
I,
know.
I I don't know. I'm a big proponent of let somebody do their job.
Yeah, that's what you hired them
Um,
for.
because if they fail, I fail. Chalk it up. Move on. In the words of Gary V, fire fast, right? So if it doesn't work 2 years, another athletic director, get another head coach, start
You
over.
hire slow, fire fast. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Fire fast. He's like, because you gotta understand, it's your fault. People don't want to take the blame, so they'll keep the person there. It's like, nah, I messed up. That didn't work. I gotta try again. People don't like to announce that, but like, if she has
That's
a good
true.
working relationship, yeah, if she has a good working relationship with him, you know. But I see there was a lot of backlash from the players
Man,
and
crazy.
the alumni association,
So she had to go
and
another
she,
route. Like, she was almost forced
hmm
to do that. It wasn't her choice. She was forced to, because they're, you know, setting motions after motion, voting no confidence here, no confidence there. Like, that's just what it is. And that's sometimes the double-edged sword, because they came to your aid when you needed them. Like, she didn't raise
hmm
$140,000 to try to keep Willie Sims.
hmm
They did.
hmm
So you do got to answer to somebody. Like, you're just not working all, willy nilly. You got to answer to somebody. So it
yeah,
is
and
what
then
it is.
she said that she wanted to build a team of student donors and trustees for the assistant, but I guess they're hiring. I guess the firm is doing that. So I don't know. It just seems very political.
For sure.
It's
I
very
think I think it's getting more intense, like, as we already discussed, it's getting more intense as
political.
there's more money involved. There's more sponsorships.
Hmm
There's more brands coming into these colleges and universities. So now these choices matter more. They have more weight, because now it's like it comes down to economics. Like,
hmm
more so than ever. Like you just stated, LeBron James, like he comes out with a shoe, colors of fire. You're seeing like the locker room promos. I'm like, damn, it's a fire ass locker room. Like, everything's starting. So you can't, it's gonna get more and more political as more money
hmm
is involved in, the
Yeah.
optics of it all. I mean, just gotta move accordingly. That job's gonna get harder and harder. You're gonna have to be able to handle that. I mean, imagine
Yeah.
how the athletic
Yeah.
directors has to move at like an Ohio State or Georgia or
Mm.
Alabama. You get it like that alumni association. I know they on their necks, the boosters and everything. They're like,
I
hey,
know they're on their
we gotta
necks.
win, bro. What?
Yeah,
The
they're on
amount of
their
money they
necks.
pumped. So
They're on their necks.
that's just the nature of the business, because it's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah, she probably her first mistake was probably reaching for Gibbs, but I understand why. Because she was like, I can give him a chance. I like the culture he's built. I like the program.
They work together at
We work
Grambling.
together. I know how he works. He works
Mm-hmm.
hard. He has a good relationship,
Right.
but it's hard. And the board's like, wait a minute, wait. The alumni definitely has a say because they just raised this money.
Yeah.
So we got to stop everything right now. We got to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it really comes down to just the preservation of culture at the end of the day, the preservation of culture in that locker room and making sure
Mm-hmm.
everything's on the up and up. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to keep in tune to this whole story as it unfolds.
Yes.
And man, we should probably bet. We should bet on who they end up
Ooh.
hiring. Who are you going with? I'll
I
let you pick. How about that?
no, pick somebody. I think they're gonna go a roll, man.
Damn, why are you gonna take my pick?
Oh, that was your pick.
Yeah, I was gonna go a roll, but
I think he has the coaching experience, and I think if it was me, I would go a roll.
Yeah, we probably both
And
wrong.
you
Who knows
go
what
roll too, right? See, and I think
we gotta do opposite. We gotta go opposite, bro. It's no fun if we both win or lose. Somebody has to win. Somebody has to lose. Are you kidding? I'm too competitive for that.
So
I'll go with Cozy, man. God damn. I wanted to go
I
with
would
Rose.
have
That's
picked
fine.
Cozy.
We'll
I would
see.
have picked
We'll
Cozy.
see.
I would have picked Cozy. That would have
No,
been.
it's fine.
It's between
It's
them
cool.
two.
No, it is. I think that's what I don't think it's too late to bring in somebody new. It's too late to bring in somebody new. But we could both be wrong, to be honest. We could both
It
be
could be.
100% wrong. But yeah, we'll keep abreast on that and kind of circle back around once that,
Yes.
the news breaks of who they've actually hired.
February 7th is crazy.
It's close. But moving on to more tragic
Yeah.
news. It's this when this broke, JT sent me a post on IG, and I was immediately disturbed by it and also saddened. So it's caused a lot of conflict and awareness and a lot of protest among the students at Lincoln University. So on January 8th, Antoinette Candina Bailey, also known as Bonnie, she took her own life, and she actually sent out a letter, a suicide note, if you will, before her death. And it's very interesting because she graduated Lincoln in 1998, right? So just to kind of give you a little bit of timeline, she graduated from that university in 1998. She had over 23 years of working experience in higher education. And so in April of 2023, she was hired as the vice president of student affairs. So her first day was May 1st. Okay. So she hadn't been in this position a complete year. May of this year would have been her first year. All right. So on the 3rd, she gets fired by interim president or Mosley, the president of the university, Mosley. She gets fired by him. His reason for firing her was basically he was saying like the lack of like her performance. She wasn't doing her job properly. These are the things that he kind of cited for justifiable reasons for firing her. And that was on the 3rd. 5 days later, she takes her own life. And before she does that, she sends an email, and she also has like correspondence and documentation stating like, hey, several times she asked for help. Several times, she requested time off. She requested leave so she could really focus on her mental health because she was suffering with severe depression and anxiety. And these things are cited, in emails. Like, so she has documentation. She also has documentation of her going to the board of curators,
Mm-hmm.
citing like, hey, I really need, under the Family and Medical Leave of an Americans with Disabilities Act, I need time
Mm-hmm.
off because this guy's bullying me, intentional
Mm-hmm.
harassment. And she quoted this. She stated that he got satisfaction from sitting back, um, trying to determine how you would ensure I felt as an employee and proud alum. That's what she
Mm-hmm.
said. This guy was actively bullying her, making it hard to do her job. And it's crazy because she she had a dissertation, right? She wrote a dissertation titled "My Sister, Myself," and the identification of social cultural factors that affect the advancement of African American women into senior level administrative positions. So she literally wrote and studied the same issue that she
Mm-hmm.
inevitably went to and led to her demise and unfortunate suicide, like preventable, in my personal opinion. You get what I'm saying? And in
Yeah.
her last words, she says, I cried my
Mm.
last tear this morning. I've had dark days, but I've never been this dark in my 25 years in the field. Student
Mm.
affairs was my love, and my love killed me.
Yep.
Like, I mean, damn. I didn't even know her, but
It's
that
crazy.
really touched me. So I can't
Mm-hmm.
even imagine what these students are going through right
Mm-mm.
now. And I was watching videos of them trying to get into these meetings, them pretty much being corralled, most of their questions being shut down, them having to wait to the last 30 minutes of a meeting to even get, to hold the mic, them only allowing 4 speakers, even though all these students are demanding answers.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your reaction, JT, to this whole situation? Like, how did you feel about it when you first saw that this news broke?
I was disturbed by it, man, because I don't think that people realize how mental health affects a person,
Hmm.
right? And how real it is. I think I if somebody says they have mental health issues, I take it with all seriousness because you never know what somebody's going through, and I get that, right?
Hmm.
You're supposed to be strong willed, yes,
Yeah.
but when you get into a rut, your mind is so powerful that it can trick you to be in a position that you're not really in, that you feel that you're in. And you feel lost because you can't get out of the situation and you can't find a way out, even though there is one, and you can't locate it because you don't think there is no help. And depression's a real thing. I've been through it. It it sucks. It was during COVID. I didn't
Hmm.
realize it. Uh, the wife told me. I was like, no, I wasn't. I looked back. I was like, yeah, and it affects your like overall appearance, how you act. You're always down and gloomy, and I think the reason is in my mind. I was like, I don't know if anything's ever going to get better than this. No,
Hmm.
I wasn't. I haven't gone as far as some people. I was listening to a Joe Budden podcast. He said he's tried to commit suicide a couple times. I believe he said
Mm.
it in the Pivot episode.
Wow.
I haven't been there to attempt it, but I've been definitely in a deep depression. I know how important mental health is because your mind is really the strongest. I don't even want to think it's a muscle, but it's the strongest component in your body because it operates everything,
Yeah.
you know? And it just sucks for her because when people make light of it or make it a joke, and this person is requesting leave, and I heard that she was working late hours, and he was like, "Oh, you're not," you know. To me, if somebody is in their field
Hmm.
and they're working late hours. She's not working late hours just for her. She's working late hours for these students that go to this historical black college. And she hasn't even been in a year, Rose. That's crazy.
That's how you know it was toxic. That's how you know it was toxic.
It's toxic.
There's no
It's
way.
crazy. And then the university president,
who's on paid leave.
He's on paid leave, so he's getting paid. This is a lot of negative publicity. I think that, I think he should be fired.
That's what they're calling
the
for.
Crazy thing, he was the basketball coach.
Yeah, so that's another thing. So how'd you go from from sports all the way to presidency? Not saying that you can't handle it, but that's a really crazy path, like that he took to get from being a coach to now being the president. You get what I'm saying? Because sometimes,
two totally different things.
I was just two totally different things, and I think sometimes the mindset's different as well. I'm not sure. I don't have like extensive knowledge of his coaching background, but we were talking about coaches before.
We know like coaches talk crazy.
They talk crazy. They talk crazy, and that is sometimes the culture. I was talking to my brother, like he played football, back in the 90s, early 2000s, and no protection. Coaches, you're a bunch of pussies, like screaming at them. You're getting cursed out like varsity blue style.
A lot of my frat brothers are head coaches. They cuss them. They cuss them.
So
basketball coaches too. That's what it is.
But you can't bring that mentality into a different atmosphere. As far as now, you're in executive office and you're in the A building and you're dealing with it's a different environment and different culture, and that just doesn't work. And instead of you being cognizant of that and being genuine and saying, "Hey, let me make sure I'm not, negatively affecting," or maybe she can't take the criticism in this manner. You were just like, you kind of got like an enjoyment or a kick. So that's a little that's a little sadistic. That's a little dark. And for that reason, definitely warranted backlash. You started a job. I mean, you go through harassment training, bullying, the whole nine. And you just skipping through the modules and just saying, "Oh, I got it," and sign on the dotted line.
Yes,
there has to be policies in place for for this.
Yes. Side note: we've seen that live when somebody filled out the sexual harassment at a former restaurant and they got fired for it.
Happens all the time. It happens all the time.
Y'all don't listen. First off, the level of communication, and I think what happens, and this is no knock with coaching, but this is just how the culture is, right? Listen, I'm gonna be honest, right? I was a dean of my fraternity. I wasn't nice. I gotta lead these guys through this very interesting process. They get cussed out by me. That's how it is, right? And same with coaches, because then you get motivation from men or women that is already in a physical environment.
Right.
So if you're talking to somebody that requires their job has to be physical or a process like the military, if it's like the military with boot camp, if they're going through something that's physical, you have to train the mind like you can't worry about it. Get up, get the F up. You're strong in this, keep going.
You freaking maggots, let's go.
Yeah,
yes. I get it.
Yeah.
It's warranted in certain situations, yes.
Yes, but when you get to a university president, that type of culture is two totally separate things, right?
Right.
So
correct.
But what I'm starting to understand is sometimes politics, this is how it's ran, toxic. But it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a communication hub. He's supposed to have the ability to communicate effectively with everybody.
So now you have to question the hires. Now you have to question how did he even get in this position and what was the hiring process. You have to put into question the board of curators because she was crying out to y'all and literally y'all are the ones that oversee the president. So who else is she supposed to cry out to and report these
Cry
issues
out.
to? Like, you go to HR, because that's who I would go to. But if what if HR is a problem? Or what if the president, the CEO of
Yeah.
the company is a problem? So what are the protocols? Which I feel like
Mm.
she's such a thorough, highly educated woman. I know she was reading policy because she was quoting stuff in a lot of the emails. Like, she was very, very much in tune. So she went through the proper channels, and that was kind of ignored. So it's very disturbing. And him
Yeah.
going on paid leave, I understand it, but it's also reminiscent of like when a police officer shoots
Yep.
somebody, and it does, from the body cam, you're like, this isn't justified, this is bullshit. But oh, he's put on paid leave. That's where
Paid
you get
leave.
more outcry. But from if you're in the organization or police department, or you're at the university, I know there's procedure, right? So now they had to hire a third party firm to really investigate these claims. There can't be any comment at this point because it's being investigated. They've been instructed by their lawyers. You can't say nothing at this point.
You can't say nothing.
But that still, it doesn't, if I'm a student, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care if that you can't say anything. I want answers, and I want answers now. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can see where that kind of adds flame or fuel to the flame, so to speak, because they want answers, and obviously they can't talk about it now because it's being investigated. But this woman had to lose her life to shed light on a toxic culture. And as a woman, I didn't read her dissertation, but just from the synopsis that I got, I mean, this stuff is true. She interviewed several women. Like, we were talking about her old job. I was sexually harassed by, a manager. It just happens. You get, like, that's just what it is. And sometimes as women, instead of reporting it, we just bite the bullet because I didn't report it. Did it make me uncomfortable? Yes. I'm just like, well, I just can't be around this dude, or I'm just making sure, hopefully I don't have the same shift as him.
Wow.
Because it was unwarranted advances. But this is just stuff you deal with. Like you said earlier, you don't know somebody's like state of mental health, right? Because some things aren't a mental health issue. We have to separate that, because I think that term is kind of overused, and we kind of don't know. I do think it is a spectrum. But if somebody's crying out for help and they say, hey, I need some time, I'm not a professional. She needs to go seek professional help, and y'all need to allow her to seek professional help where they can do a diagnostic. And they can let her know, okay, this is what's going on. Because there's a stigmatism in the Black community. I think it's getting better the more we've been vocal, especially on social media. There's been this wave and this craze of like mental health, especially since the pandemic. But growing up, being Black, I will say, like, in our family, they're like, anybody going to no damn psychiatrist?
Get up, man. You're crazy.
They're like, are you crazy? That's reserved for white people. And it's very an ignorant statement. But this is the thought process. So the first time I actually got to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist was when I got to an HBCU. When I got to Howard, they offered free counseling, and that was the first time in my life. And it's wild because Black people, we go through so much trauma in our childhoods. We need that shit. And we don't get it because of just like the negative comment. Like, what's wrong with you? Like you said, strong mind. My brother's like, just be strong, just rise above it. It's like, no, bro, I'm drowning right now. I'm depressed right now. And I need help. I need my voice to be heard. I need somebody to help me through this process. I can't do it on my own. You get what I'm saying?
Somebody, I forgot what player it was. I don't want to misquote the name, but he was like, the crazy thing is when he said that Black people don't need therapy. When you grow up in the hood, you have PTSD.
PTSD for sure.
PTSD. I was like, oh snap.
And you don't even have to be on the streets.
That. You don't even got to be on the streets.
Like, you could just be living. Yeah, somebody's dying. You don't have food. Your relationship with your parents, if both parents are in the house,
parents to get run into
drug issues, all types of things.
Everywhere. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Living off of Alabama Avenue in Southeast and DC, that was an experience. I mean, every other week, high-speed police chase, somebody's crashing into the bus stop right in front of my house. Or running from the or shootouts. It was just crazy. So yeah, we need counseling. We need counseling, like to check in and really get our emotions and be able to manage it. Like me, before I got COVID, I thought maybe these mental issues are just all in people's mind. I used to think that. I got a panic attack a legit panic attack for the first time in 2022, and
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was dying. And there was
Mm-hmm.
nothing like I could do about it. This wasn't a mind over, like it hit me and I felt like, bro, am I dying right now? A full-on
Mm.
panic attack. After that
Yeah.
moment, I had to humble myself and I'm like, yo, this is real. And
Yes.
I'm not, so I can't even imagine if somebody's suffering through like actual clinical depression, bipolar disorder, all these
Mm-hmm.
things. Like, no, it's very serious. It's very serious and it needs to
It's
be addressed.
it's very serious, and you take light of it, and I think that it's so serious that you're right because you don't even notice that you're going through it until you go through it, and then when you're going through it, especially when we're talking about depression, panic attacks, right? You're not supposed to be in this space. If you're not aware and tuned, it could go left real quick because
Hmm.
that's how your mind just works.
Yep.
And once I went through it, I was like, all right, this is this is a real thing.
It's very real.
And it's so real that you don't even know you're in the midst of it. And if you don't catch yourself while you're in the midst of it or try to
Spiral.
get yourself out of it,
Spiral, bro.
you could spiral, yeah, it could spiral out of control. And then you'll be
I
like, how did I get here? Where am I
and
at?
and it's worse, and it's one thing for somebody to commit suicide. That's always devastating, but you have
Mhm.
to think of this, the ramification and that shockwave it sends to the people who are close to them. Like I had a college
Mm.
friend who unfortunately her brother committed suicide. Like, I don't even know what to say to her. Because the guilt
Mm.
and just the sorrow there, because you're like, man, what signs did I miss? What could I have done? I could have
Yeah,
been
that's
more supportive,
crazy.
but then it's like it's too late. So now you think about, man, these students who were close, because there are some
Yes.
there are some employees that were in the A building. As much as I hated, Howard's A building, there were some employees that really looked out for me, and I developed a bond because they cared about my matriculation. They cared about me as a student.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
couldn't even imagine if something like that happened. I'd
I
be
could
depressed. I'd be devastated.
I will be devastated because I don't think people understand the impact. Like, so in my school, um, it was shout out Dr. Briscoe. She's still there. She taught me in class, and she's
Oh,
still there helping students. She's helped my nephew. Like, she's that
that's amazing.
loving and amazing. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like, she was there in 2005. It's
Mm,
2024. She's still there. She loves the
almost 20
students. She
years.
loves
Yeah.
Bowie. Yeah, she went to Bowie, graduated from there. She loves it. You know.
Yeah.
Um, and one of my mentors and good friends, Sean Lamb, he was another person that, you know, man, he helped me. He helped me through some tough times in college. I was a cute man, so he was like, hey James, you can't be
Right, right,
out here
right.
wilding out.
Wilding out.
You know what I'm
Wilding
saying?
all the way
So
out.
yeah. One day he was like, one day I came to his office. I was like, "What's up, man?" He was like, "Man, what you doing last night?" I was like, "I ain't doing nothing." Ain't nothing. He said, "He said, nah, I heard you were in this
Mhm.
dorm doing this." I was like, "What? How did you hear about this? How did you hear this? The ears and the walls?"
Yeah, but
God.
it doesn't it kind of feel like that parental, figure,
Yeah, I
because you're
needed
you're
that.
away from home, and you're away from home,
Hmm.
and you're just trying to navigate, like, what is it like to be an adult when you just
Hmm.
nobody's holding you accountable, you have to hold yourself accountable, and so they become these anchors, right? Then you kind of
Hmm.
you latch on to certain professors or people in the A building, or wherever you might
Just
see them,
talk
maybe in
to
the
man.
yeah, just talk to them, and
Hmm.
especially at HBCUs, it has
Hmm.
such like a homely type of like feel,
Yeah.
like you talking to your auntie or just somebody
Mm-hmm.
that you know personally, that's a family member. So I mean, this needs to be addressed. The students definitely cited like some cultural things that are just way out of whack and things that just aren't okay for that university. This is what the students were voicing. So they're going to
Yeah.
need some reform. We just talked about culture of family. They're going to need some reform here at
Yes.
Lincoln University, big time.
Yes.
And they need
Because
to keep us abreast on that situation. And he needs to be.
mm-hmm.
He got to get let go. He got to get let go.
Mm-hmm. He
And
has
maybe
to.
criminal charges. Like certain places, bullying is a crime,
Yes.
and then that
Yes.
that caused somebody's death.
Mm.
What?
That's crazy, man.
Underneath the
That's
jail.
crazy. And
So,
and oh,
mm,
and her close friend, right?
yeah.
Kendra Perry.
Hmm.
She known her for about 30 years.
Damn.
And she said that she was a good motivator, friend. That's why the
Mm.
students are like, come on now, like what,
Aw.
you know what I'm saying? And she said that when she was in the same spot getting bullied by her boss, once again, this is the kind of
This
I
is
think
crazy.
I think it's like a toxic culture that has to be addressed. But thankful for the internet,
Hmm.
YouTube, IG, Facebook, TikTok is getting out there.
Yep.
But she said that Bonnie drove 2 hours, met up with her, talked to her. She cried, they cried, they
Mm,
like so she uplifted her.
mm,
And you know, the chief of police, I was listening to some videos yesterday. The chief of police, the chief of campus police were like, listen, we're not gonna rest. He was like, we're gonna find out because he I I felt it in his voice, it was kind of trembling,
damn.
but he was just
Mm,
like, we're gonna find out what's going on and keep it accountable. And he was like, I promise, I
mm.
promise you. And Perry said that her daughter might not go. And daughter's a fourth generation. I was like, wow. But
Mm.
then you gotta think if the university doesn't,
Toxic.
if they don't take care of this, then it's just gonna get bigger.
They
Because
have to. They have
I'm
to.
putting hashtag fire Mosley. I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now,
They have to
they
take
got some
care of it.
hashtags. I'm gonna put them all.
They have to take care of it.
Get it
This is
done.
too big to be kind of swept under the rug. It has to be taken care of.
It's everywhere on
Um,
the news.
yeah, there has to be. They
Everywhere.
can't. This is not like hiring a new head coach. This is somebody's life.
Mm-mm,
Okay, like this isn't going away as it should. And
mm-mm,
these students, they need to be on their
mm-hmm.
necks. I support it.
Yes,
I support it 100%.
hundred
But
percent. They gotta fire him.
yeah, you gotta go.
And
You gotta
you
go.
know what? You know what's that's crazy that he probably was like probably laughing because he said he was probably laughing and joking. And this is what happens when you
Mm.
don't know what somebody else is going through and they request time off because they're having
Give
mental
them the
health
time
issues
off.
and you're laughing
Just give them the time
and this
off.
person has committed suicide because on your watch underneath you
Nah, you gotta live. You gotta have to live with
you
that.
gotta he gonna have to live with that. He gonna have to live. That's gonna be a tough one. That's gonna be a tough one to live with.
Mm.
Not me.
Yeah.
That's a tough one to live with. But anyway, let's get on a highlight
Yes, let's
note.
end on a high. We're gonna end on a high, and we're
Yes.
gonna keep it in a theme of all great things HBCU. I mean, we've
Mm-hmm.
seen it through all of the stories we've talked about today. It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing how students, like, you go to an HBCU, but you have such ties with either that HBCU or just the HBCU culture in general, that later on in life, like, you get a job either at the school that you worked at or another
Mm-hmm.
HBCU. So this next story is no exception. Um, David Whitlow, right? So he gets hired
Mm-hmm.
as the wide receiver coach for the University of West Virginia at the age of 26. This is actually pretty
Nice.
young. and he joined the
Pretty young.
team under the guidance. Yeah, that's actually very young, under the guidance of Dane
So,
Stevens, who's 27 himself. So it's like he became the offensive coordinator at West Georgia, and now he's brought in Whitlow, and it's an amazing story because Whitlow, out of JT, this he's a Q, right? But he states on his Twitter that he's like a living testimony to God's work. He started with a 1.5 GPA, and you've touched on this. You had a low GPA, but when you said, "Hey, I'm about to pledge Q," you had to
Where did
get your
that
shit
come
up,
up?
right?
Do I remember that? Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I had a low
you
GPA. I
said
was
it.
hanging out.
You were just being honest. So he went from having a 1.5 GPA to SGA president, Division I quarterback. You get
That's
what I'm saying? He got a
vicious.
BS degree in English, full ride to Auburn University for his master's. Like, I mean, and it's just amazing now that he's joining a staff at a very pivotal time, because now the University of West Virginia, they're transitioning from Division II to the FCS. All right. So this is going to be a really, really great move for him. I think it's going to challenge him in all the right ways, and I think he's going to show up and deliver. How do you feel about just about this former HBCU student, like what he's doing, man?
First of all, I love it because, man, we both got something in common. I low GPA.
Oh gosh, here you go. Love it. I like it. I like it.
But
That's what's up.
it's I don't know what it is. I think it's just like you're just hanging out and you get lost in hanging out versus why you're really there to get education.
To get education, that's the number one.
And people get lost into it because I just everybody knows this. If you go to HBCU, you could get lost. Okay, you're gonna come there, and as soon as fall come, right as soon as the springtime starts in September,
Right.
it's nice and warm,
Oh,
and then
I love
homecoming is
it. Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
And then after you get homecoming, it's other homecoming. So you go to other homecoming, and then after that, it's break time. You got Thanksgiving, finals, and Christmas time.
And then Christmas comes right around, and it's
right around.
It gets cold. You're back to spring.
And Spring Fest,
spring break, spring fest, all that. It's just like
everything is happening. You wake up like,
cycle.
oh, fried chicken Tuesday. I'm like, oh, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't want to get
you
into
wake
fried
up
chicken.
and it's just
Mhm.
yeah, but it's just it's always a it's I don't want to say it's always a party, but there's so many things to do with HBCU, and sometimes you get lost, man. But yeah, I'm excited for him because of course, you mentioned that he's one of my fraternity brothers.
He's a brother. So, yeah, he's your brother.
I mean, that's another thing we have in common. But I mean, at 26, man, becoming the school president, the SGA president, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work, man.
Coming from somebody who had a 1.5,
I used to be like, I'm not doing that. Yeah, it's a lot of work when you're SGA president because it's a lot of things that go in the yard on campus. But if y'all are familiar with HBCU, we call it the yard. That is campus. So, but it's being an SGA president is difficult job in itself. Raising his GPA is another difficult job.
Task and a half.
And then he's passionate. He's played football, and now he has a chance to be a wide receivers coach at University of West Georgia. Man, he's going to thrive. We're going to hear his name. We're going to hear his name.
I want to see like what that looks like as far as on the offensive side, having like those young, those young people in position, those key positions. And I want to see like what type of schemes they're able to come up with, what new and dynamic thing they're going to bring to the table as far as on the offensive side. So it is going to be interesting. That's something we're definitely going to be, keeping track of.
For young.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with our parents' age.
With the Bill Belichick's.
Nothing. Nick Saban, but Belichick. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
But
1,000 years
I
old.
like my, like D'Amico Ryans. He's around my age. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I like. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, well, if I'm gonna take a chance, and football players this generation relates more to younger, right? So Gen X can relate more to Gen
To like
Z.
millennials.
And
Yeah.
baby boomers can, well, Generation X and Generation Z are you're almost the same. You know that they're two different celebrations.
I don't know. All I
All
know is
right, so I'm a
millennials.
generation. So you're a generation.
I'm a
Z.
millennial. I'm a
You're a
millennial.
millennial. I'm a
Okay,
millennial too.
Are you?
Generation X, yeah, Generation X ends in like 1979, I think.
Is it?
1980. Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
boomers are before them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the boomers gotta go. Boomers
So like
got to go.
a sister would be Generation X. So Generation Z is
These young kids now.
oh
right?
yeah. So I am Generation X. Yeah. So Generation Z
You're
is
old, bro. Like, we're not in the same.
I'm not old. You're not.
You're not a millennial.
Bros,
You're
you're
not literally
Generation
the
X.
best. I am
Hold
not.
on.
I'm telling you what I am. Like, you can't tell me what I am. Are you lost your marbles? I'm saying.
Yeah, what?
I'm saying we're not in the same boat. I'm getting there. Don't force me there,
I'm
okay?
not that old. Wait, I am. Hold
You're
on,
old.
man. Wait, talking about
You're
I am
definitely
not this old, young.
You're old. It's okay. But
No,
no,
so
I agree.
Generation X. Let me see millennials. Come on, Wikipedia. I don't want to know this terminology. I just want to see millennials were born between early 80s and late 1990s.
That's not. You need specific years. That's not going to help. But
It says 1980
to what?
To late 1990s.
No, that's not.
So I'm a
That's not
millennial.
giving you a number. That's not giving you a number. No, like what? You're not a millennial.
Yeah.
You want to be so bad.
Yeah. I am, guys.
When were you born?
1982. I want to thank God. That's who you think first, because I'm a millennial. Thank you. I'm not Generation X. Still relevant.
We can't be in the same boat, bro. We
just
still
relatable. Yeah.
I just don't. Bro, I don't.
I'm
see
not
that.
50. I'm not. It seems like you're calling me like 50 and some change.
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not. No, I'm not.
I'm gonna find out, but I'm either generation.
You might be a millennial. You might be the start of it. So it's like
I'll probably I would take that. I'm gonna find out the breakdown because Wikipedia is not doing. I don't know what is going on.
That's because y'all not donating to Wikipedia, bro. They can't keep the information accurate.
They'll never get my money.
I can't give them my money. I already gotta pay for the internet. I gotta pay for the internet, and I gotta give you money too. The hell?
You're just free information. Why would I give you money when people are updating your website?
No way. Yeah, it's
why
open
would I
source.
pay for somebody?
I'm not giving you the money.
Yeah, you can update it. They be like, if you pay, you can update your own Wikipedia page. And I found out, I was like, come on, man.
I'm good on it, fool. I'm good on it. But yeah, no, very, very excited, man. We're gonna be looking for Whitlow.
Yes.
We're gonna be looking for y'all, obviously, next week. Same bad time, same bad place.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Oh,
same
channel,
bad
my bad.
place.
Okay.
Well,
okay, like iHeartRadio, my bad.
Yeah. So we're gonna see y'all next week. We got some more topics. And we're out. And please, once again, follow us on anywhere you can find podcasts and on YouTube and on IG. And the link tree is in the description. Also, all the articles that we found and everybody's Instagram page will be linked as well in the description. All right, guys. So we will see y'all next week. Peace.